Hello, Saturnians! It's a beautiful day at the beach, and today I feel inspired to talk to you about the Orishas of Candomblé tradition because all Afro Brazilian religions are deeply connected with the sea. Both Candomblé and Umbanda in Brazil developed in the coast when the African slaves first arrived in the country brought by the Portuguese colonizers. Many aspects of Brazilian culture are connected to the Orishas, like many typical foods that we have come from traditional offerings to the Orishas. Sun-dried shrimps are the favorite food of many of the Orishas of Candomblé, and you can just buy shrimps like this in every beach. This is a delicious acarajé, which everyone eats here, especially in Bahia state, and it is originated from offerings to Yansan or Oya, the Orisha of the winds. This is so absolutely delicious. Dried shrimps, vatapá, and bread made of a certain kind of bean. So the Orishas also like beans, but in Candomblé tradition, you cannot mess with the offerings to the Orishas. If you give them the wrong food, then you're like in trouble. In every terreiro, there is a person in charge of the offerings, and you have to follow their advice exactly. Otherwise, things can just go wrong. So some subscribers have expressed a desire to learn more about the Afro Brazilian Tarot, and I thought I would show you the major arcana and explain how to read the majors, because in this deck, each major arcana is represented by an Orisha of Candomblé. So today, I will only show you the major arcana, but if you want to see all cards, I have a full walkthrough of this deck. I'll leave the link in the description box down below. But before we get started, please give thumbs up to this video and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're coming back, yay, welcome back. So let's go. So now I'll show you the major arcana, starting with the Fool. In this deck, the Fool card is represented by Exu. In Candomblé, Exu is the messenger between this world and the spiritual world. So all offerings need to be given to Exu first. Some people think that Exu is evil, but they are wrong. Exu is simply closer to the human realm. So Exu has some human traits. For instance, he can be annoyed if you don't give him the offering he wants, and he can give you protection and blessings when you give him what he needs. Because he is so human-like, sometimes people think less of him, but truth is, nothing can be done in the terreiro without the help of Exu, and he is the messenger between the material and the spiritual worlds. So if you do not please Exu first, he will close all doors to the other realm and rituals will not be successful. So this is the reason why in all terreiros, rituals start with offerings to Exu. Exu brings movement to whatever is stagnant. So this is why he is representing the Fool card, the first step indicating movement towards spiritual development. When this card appears in your readings, there are a few things to consider. You need to move towards something, take a risk, take a leap of faith, take the first step towards something. However, if you get this in the challenge position, this could mean that you have closed the doors to spirituality due to fear of the unknown, fear of what might happen. Remember that Exu is the opposite of stagnation. Offerings to Exu in Brazil include cachaça, our national drink. Exu likes a strong alcohol, so it is common to see here in Brazil people offering cachaça to Exu before they actually start drinking. Next, we have babalorixá as the magician. A babalorixá is a person initiated into the mysteries of Candomblé, and he's in charge of the divination process. Here, the babalorixá is casting the cowrie shells for divination. He interprets the pattern of the shells when they fall. This hand in his head is the hand of the orisha who is guiding the process. The babalorixá is just a vessel through which the orisha can be expressed. In Candomblé tradition, the only way you can know who your orishas are is through this process. Every single person in the world is the son or the daughter of a couple of orishas. There is one orisha who has been with you ever since your soul was created, according to Candomblé tradition. This ancestral orisha, as it is called, follows you through all your lives. As you develop spiritually, you become like this orisha. You develop traits of this orisha. So, if your ancestral orisha is, say, Nana Buruke, you will develop traits of Nana as you develop spiritually in the course of many incarnations. However, all of us have another orisha that is following us through this specific existence because, in this lifetime, we may need a very specific lesson or very specific traits to jump to the next level. So this orisha gives us a certain personality in this life to achieve that final goal. This is often the orisha that we feel a strong connection with, and as we give offerings to this orisha, we feel this orisha becomes more present in our lives. Finally, we even have a third orisha who rules our emotions and shows up to support the others. At the end, we are a combination of at least 3 orishas, just like we are a combination of our sun, ascendant, and moon in astrology. But in Candomblé, the only way for you to know your orishas is by going to a terreiro to consult the shells with a babalorixá. Only then it will be revealed to you. And once it's revealed to you, you will understand why you act in a certain way and what you will become. So, when you get the magician in a reading, think of a babalorixá who has the power of consulting the orishas and download information from them. Hence this hand over here, you have what it takes to download information from above, and your doors to the spiritual world are open. In a challenge position, however, this could mean you are using the door to the other realm to access lower spirits, and they are having a bad influence in your life. So you need to close the doors. You have to have control over what kind of information you are downloading from the other realms, because a babalorixá has many years of training so that he's able to access the right information. So here we have Nana Buruke as the High Priestess, and Nana is the oldest orisha. She rules the swamps, the mud, the ponds. The swamps hide stuff in the mud, and we never really know what can be hidden in there. Every now and then a body is found in the swamps here in Brazil. And so we understand why Nana is the High Priestess, because the High Priestess is the card of knowledge, which is veiled, hidden. You need to go to the depths of murky waters to access this information. Intuition, this is what this card means. When this card shows up in a reading, it means you have to go to the swamps of your mind, and the answer you are seeking is not obvious, not clear. It is hidden. It can only be accessed if you're willing to put your feet in the mud. In a challenge position, you may be going through some confusion. You may not be seeing things clearly, being too passive in a given situation. So, when you see Nana in this reading, think about all the knowledge that is hidden in your subconscious mind, and you need to make some effort to make them come to the surface. You'll need discernment, silence, and, purity in order to understand these messages. So, connecting with Nana means connecting with your intuition. It is said also that when someone disappears in the swamps or in murky waters, it was Nana reclaiming the soul of her child. So, if Nana is your main Orisha, you can connect with her by going places with wetland, but please be careful, she might just be missing you too much. So, the Empress is Iemanjá, and this is, of course, the most loved Orisha in Brazil. There are so many festivals dedicated to Iemanjá. Most Brazilians have a deep connection with her. She rules the ocean, protects sailors and fishermen. In fact, the name Iemanjá means mother of children who are like fish, because children of Iemanjá are known for being emotional and compassionate. Every sailor and every fisherman makes an offering to Iemanjá before they leave to the sea, so that she can provide enough fish and protect from wild waters. She's loving and nurturing like a mother. She's the embodiment of feminine compassion. When you give an offering to Iemanjá and start embodying traits of a loving, caring mother, your relationship with children, your home life, and your marriage become better. So you can see the relationship between Iemanjá and the Empress card. So, if she appears in your readings, she's talking about your need to be loving and nurturing and take care of your home and family. Depending on your question, it also means that you are protected in a given situation and you have her blessings, or that the issue must be dealt with compassion and love rather than rational analysis. It is also a card of abundance. In the mythology, Iemanjá once had an argument with her husband and she cried so much that her tears flooded the whole city. This is a reminder of the power of water. It can flow graciously. It can take you to your destination if you go with the tide. Or it can be wild and take you to the depths of the ocean with its force. In my favorite version of Iemanjá's story, she was transformed into a river so that she could flow away to the sea and become one with the ocean. I find that this is deeply symbolic. The water element inside all of us, that is, our emotions, have the ability to connect us with the oceanic force of nature. So, when Iemanjá appears in the challenge position of your tarot readings, you are not flowing. You are not flowing to the ocean. You are not connecting with your emotions so that you can have a good relationship with your loved ones. The water element is missing. I love this card so much. The Emperor is represented by Ogum, the Orisha of war and iron. People who have Ogum as their main Orisha are fierce and they do not like to be told what to do. They are leaders, they are restless, and they are extremely honest. They never lie, they never talk behind people's back. So, when this card appears in a reading, you either need to embody traits of Ogum and man up, woman up, or queer up, whatever, and own the situation, be honest, say what needs to be said. Or if you're feeling weak and vulnerable, you should do offerings to Ogum and you will receive a little bit of his strength. You should address a situation with courage. In a challenge position, maybe someone is embodying the negative aspects of Ogum and becoming too harsh and authoritarian and even slightly selfish. So, when you get this card in a reading, in my experience, it usually means that you need to address a situation with authority. you have to speak up your truth. The Hierophant. I love this card so much. Here the Hierophant is Oxalá. The best traits of the children of Oxalá is that they fight for justice. They defend the people who are oppressed. But unlike Iemanjá, Oxalá does that by being analytical. He likes rules and regulations, and he likes to follow the laws. So this is why he is the Hierophant. Oxalá's children are idealistic and they long for a perfect world. That is why they create so many rules. When this card appears in your reading, you may need to embody traits of Oxalá and be very analytical, follow the rules and do the right thing, always aiming at universal peace. In a challenge position, someone may not be following the rules, someone may not be acting with people's best interest in mind. You should give offerings to Oxalá when you need help with doing the, lawful thing. And this is an interesting card because in Yoruban mythology, Oxóssi was Oshun's boyfriend, but the family of Oshun did not approve the relationship. So Oxóssi dressed as a woman in order to pretend that he was, just a friend of Oshun. But then he ended up impregnating Oshun. And then, of course, the family found out that he was lying and he was expelled. This is why Oxóssi is considered a cross-dresser Orisha. And he can embody traits of both male and female, and that's why he is the Lovers. This card is about reconciling the opposites, solving the puzzle of duality, integrating male and female energies. When it appears in your readings, this card means that you need to join forces with an opposite energy or reconciling differences. Of course, it also means romance. On the other hand, depending on the surrounding cards, this could mean difficulties in seeing the other side of the coin, not seeing eye to eye with people, being one-sided in a given situation. So I could not understand at first why Oxóssi was chosen to represent the Lovers card, but after deep thinking, I realized that Oxóssi is the perfect Orisha to represent the Lovers card. He means the conciliation as he reconciles opposite sides. Here we have Ibeji the twins. They are associated with children, childhood, and everything that grows. Offerings to the Ibejis include lots of sweets and honey, and when you don't give them what they want, they can be tricksters. In Yoruban mythology, one of the twins drowned in a waterfall. One of the twins represents the body, the other represents the soul. And if they aren't served what they need, symbolically, it means that you will kill one of the twins and the other will be left alone and miserable. In fact, in the mythology, the remaining twin begged Orunmila to take his life so that he could be with his brother. And this is what happens to us in a symbolic level, of course, when we neglect the body or the soul, because one cannot be without the other. So this is the beautiful message of this Chariot card represented by the twins. When it appears in your readings, think about the balance between body and soul, lower self and higher self. Are they taking you where you want? Or do you have a dominant twin that is taking over the chariot? Next is Justice, represented by Oba. Now, Shango is the Orisha of justice, but in this deck, Shango is the judgment card because Shango is the higher level of justice, while Oba is justice in terms of legal matters, lawsuits. So, Oba is the mundane material aspect of justice. She's a very strong Orisha who can defeat enemies with her strength and defend herself. When you need strength against enemies, you give offerings to Oba and she'll help you defend yourself. In a challenge position, however, this card could mean that one will win a battle simply because they have more power, but not necessarily because they were right. Oba can be more aggressive than needed sometimes. So this is the message of this card. The Hermit card is represented by Obaluaye. Children of Obaluaye are introspective. They enjoy solitude. They like to be left alone. Obaluaye knows suffering very well. He was abandoned as a baby. So he also knows and understands what abandonment means. He protects the sick and the poor. You cannot hide anything from Obaluaye as he can see through you. Solitude gave him all his skills. Once he sees what is wrong with you, he can help you transmute negative energy into positive. So when this card appears in your readings, it means that you need to embody traits of Obaluaye. Allow yourself some time of solitude and introspection so that you can transmute energies to heal yourself. You need to get away from the situation because strength will come from within, not from external influences. In the challenge position, and depending on the question, this card can indicate difficulties healing or getting better when you need to heal from something. But this is usually coming from not being able to be alone with yourself and do the inner work that you need to do. So this is about reluctance to find your own inner light because you are expecting it to come from others and others cannot give you that. Okay, so Obaluaye is always talking about the need to find your own source of light, even if that means a little bit of solitude, a little bit of introspection. The Wheel of Fortune is not represented by any Orisha. This card is a reminder that everything is always changing, the impermanent state of everything. So when this card appears, it is telling you that your situation is about to change and that you should trust the process and allow change to happen. Do not be afraid of change. In the challenge position, this card usually means that you are reluctant to accept change. Okay. The Strength card is represented by Oya or Yansan, the Orisha of the strong storms. This is a powerful Orisha who loves freedom and cannot really be contained in a box. A child of Oya cannot be dominated. They need to express themselves freely, and they will fight for other people's right to be themselves and express themselves freely as well. They are very seductive and they do what needs to be done to keep the ball rolling. No fluff. They are like the winds and the storms. They break what needs to be broken and fix what needs to be fixed. When you need strength to deal with everyday's adversities, you give offerings to your Oya and she will show you her power. She will help you become free of the things that make you feel stuck. And if she has to break something, your beautiful shell, which is your comfort zone, to give you freedom, she will. When this card appears in your readings, you have the necessary strength to keep going. But you will need to fight, break things, yell, and work hard, but you will succeed. In the challenge position, however, this could mean that you are not picking your battles wisely. So watch out, because these strong winds can be quite destructive if they are not directed to the right cause. Children of Oya, they have this inner strength. They have this inner lion. The thing is, sometimes the lion will try to eat the tamer. So that's the message. Hanged Man is represented by Osain, the Orisha who deals with the leaves of the plants. He's a wizard and he protects the forest. He knows all secrets of plants and how to use them to cure. He will not allow impure people to be in the woods, so you need to ask permission to Osain before you enter the forest. If he thinks you are not pure enough, he'll not let you find your way back. He likes nature in its natural state, untouched by men, so he retreats in the forests. He is the hanged man because only when he is alone in the woods he has the right perspective and can see things in their natural state without interference. When you get this card, you need to take time and not allow intrusive thoughts to get in the way of your judgment. Just observe and discern pure from impure. In the challenge position, this card may indicate that things will take time to unfold, or that Osain thinks your choices are impure and therefore you cannot see the outcome of a situation or find your way back home. Here is death, represented by Egun, the spirit of the dead. In Candomblé, there are initiates called Orishas to deal with the Egun in the right way. There is a specific place for them to manifest, receive gifts, and dance. The Orishas prevent the Egun from harming the living, and this is a very important function in Candomblé and an important piece of information to interpret this card. This card means that something is coming to an end. But in the challenge position, it means that maybe you're not allowing something to die. You expect the Egun to manifest. You don't want to let the situation go. And the Egun, or the situation, keeps coming back to haunt you. You must be like the Orishas that prevents the dead from harming the living. Let them be dead. That's the message. Temperance is Oshumare, the Orisha of the rainbow. Some associate this Orisha to the beautiful, expensive, and luxurious things because he received a very expensive gift from Olokun. So, in Yoruba mythology, Oshumare left his position as a counselor to the king of Ife because this king didn't pay him enough. So, feeling a little underappreciated, he left and went to work for Olokun instead. And Olokun always gave him the most beautiful and expensive gifts for his services, as Oshumare's predictions were always accurate and on point. One of the gifts was a beautiful colorful rainbow-like silk that mirrors its colors in the sky every time Oshumare wears it. So this is why Oshumare is the Orisha of the rainbow, and he is associated with all colors that together form a rainbow in the sky. So this story tells us that we have the right to beauty, prosperity, and abundance in a fair exchange for the things we provide. When it appears in your readings, it means that you should seek the right balance. In the challenge position, something is a little unbalanced, right? The devil in this deck is a little tricky because the little white book says this is a figure from Christianity assimilated into the Yoruban religions. So what happens here is that we have manifestations of lower entities that tricks us into fulfilling our blind passions regardless of the consequences. And this blind obedience to our instincts become the energy of the devil. But the devil should always be regarded as our inability to control our desires when we need to control them. instead of an actual entity. Because no entity can influence you to do the wrong thing if you don't have that thing already inside of you. So when this card appears, it is talking about you being open to negative influence due to your lack of self-control, your blind passions. You have to be careful with your channels being open to negative influence. If, however, this is in the advice position, it could mean that you can fulfill your desires. There is no harm in pleasing yourself in this specific situation if you are fully aware of the consequences. The tower is represented by Iroko, the Orisha of ancestrality and time. It is represented by a large tree called gameleira in Portuguese, because in Candomblé mythology, a large tree was planted on earth so that all Orishas could come down to assist humans through this tree. So this is the mother of all trees and the connection between the realms. This card, even though it is a tower card, represents time and karma, because this is Iroko's function. So when it is time for you to have a tower moment due to your own karma, then you will experience the power of it. This is the Lord of Time, and it controls the timing of events in your life. So when you see the tower in your readings, it is talking about time, it is talking about karma, it is talking about fulfilling your obligations in this lifetime. Iroko knows the things you have to do in this time frame to repair mistakes, or the things you need to experience to become what you need to become. So Iroko promotes some tower moments in your life. I also like to see this card as the possibility to invoke help from above, because do not forget, this is the tree through which the Orishas come to earth. The star is Oshun, the most beautiful Orisha in Candomblé. She's beautiful, she likes jewels, she's always looking at herself in the mirror. She appreciates everything that is beautiful and shines. She's very diplomatic also, she doesn't like conflicts. She loves to make the environment around her beautiful. The children of Oshun are known for spending a lot of money on themselves. They like perfume, they like makeup and expensive clothes. They're never sloppy. Oshun is the star in this deck because Oshun always sees the bright side of everything. Oshun never sees the flaws in her children. They are perfect in her eyes. They are like her most valuable possession. And this is the vibe of the star card. When you get the star in your reading, you should embody the traits of Oshun and rise your frequency to the point in which you look around and everything is beautiful. When you are having problems with matters related to sexuality, enjoying life, your appearance, it is a good idea to give offerings to Oshun and receive a bit of her archetype. You will become infused with a sense of optimism. I truly love Oshun. She rules the waterfalls and rivers, and here in Brazil it is common to see offerings to Oshun in the beautiful waterfalls. If the star is reversed or in the challenge position, maybe your vibration is low and you are not seeing reasons to be optimistic. So this is when you should connect to the archetype of Oshun even more. Then we have the moon. This is represented by Ewa, who protects nature and purity. She protects everything that has been untouched. So nature that hasn't been explored by people, places that have never been visited, and virgin women, they say, are all protected by Ewa. Only women can be initiated by Ewa in Candomblé tradition. She is the Orisha of the fog, and this is why she's the moon card. She puts the fog in a place in order to protect her children. If they have a pure heart, they will find their way back. But if they do not have a pure heart, then they will get lost in the fog, which is for me very symbolic. When the moon shows up in your reading, you may not be seeing the creatures hiding in the fog. In fact, in Yoruba mythology, Shango was dancing in her realm as he was trying to seduce Ewa. So she put a fog in there, and once the fog dissipated, Shango realized that he was dancing in a cemetery. And I find it absolutely hilarious, with all respect to Candomblé, that it is said that Shango is scared of death. So he ran away immediately once he realized that he was dancing in a cemetery. And Ewa laughed because she was the one who put the fog there. So if you get the moon, address the fog around you and try to see where you are standing, because you might be in danger. So this is a good card to be represented by Ewa. Olorun is the Orisha representing the sun. He's the source of everything. He was uncreated, as he has no mother and no father. He is what he is. In Yoruba mythology, at the beginning, there were only swamps on earth, and Olorun created the sun so that there could be life here. However, as humans and Orishas started living on earth, they started desiring bigger houses, more things, more food, and more everything. So Olorun said that he could give them what they wanted, but things would no longer be harmonious because some would get more than others, as he had calculated everything perfectly. But humans insisted, so the world became less harmonious and people separated themselves in tribes. So when you get this card in your readings, you have the vitality, the ability to shine light upon lifeless places, projects, relationships. You can infuse everything with light, but you have to always be careful not to lose the harmony and cause drought. So in the challenge position, this card means dry spells, literally. Then we have Judgment. This is Shango, Orisha of lightning, thunders, stones. This is a very powerful Orisha who enjoys power and cannot stand lies, falsity, and dishonesty. Children of Shango are usually people who are leaders and work in positions of authority. If you need to make decisions that impact other people, if you need to deal with authority figures, if you need justice to be made, you give offerings to Shango and you will embody a bit of his power to face certain situations. However, only do that if you're right, because if you're wrong, Shango will destroy you. Therefore, he's the judgment card. He never loses discernment. He also rules over the dead, and especially men who need a little help, to keep spirits up. Shango is the Orisha to turn to. If you get this card in a reading, something will come back to life and rise from the dead, or maybe you need to embody Shango and make intelligent decisions. You'll be in a position of power. Things will be successful if you have done the right thing. But this card is a terrible card to get if you've done something wrong. If you harmed somebody, if you lied to somebody, then you'll experience Shango's rage. Finally, we have Orunmila representing the world card. This is the Orisha who rules the elements and the keeper of the secrets of the Ifa. The Ifa is the system of divination in Afro religions. It is the oracle used. It requires many years of training to master the Ifa, and when one babalao transfers the knowledge to a new initiate, then this person receives the ashe from their master. The ashe is the sacred force that comes from Orishas and makes the magic possible in the terreiros. So, Orunmila has mastered the Ifa, therefore he is the last major arcana card, the world card. He has accomplished the great work. He has acquired all knowledge. He knows everything there is to know. When you get this card, no need to say it's my favorite card because the World card is Saturn's card. So when you get this card, you rest assured that you have done the work, that you will succeed in your endeavors, that your path is complete. In the challenge position, well, you still have stuff to do. You still have to work more. You still have to work harder. Maybe you need to do some offerings to Orunmila, especially those who work with divination, tarot, shells. People like us need to offer fruits to Orunmila every now and then. He doesn't like bananas or grapes though, so offer the other fruits. Alright, so these are the major arcana in the Afro Brazilian Tarot Deck. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye!